Welcome back to the Japanese American Journal. I'm Megumi Inouye, your host, bringing you issues of concern and interest for our Japanese American community here in the Bay Area. And today we're talking about the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, JET, for many of you that may know it. And right now we have with us today two JET alumni, James Foley and Alan Mockridge, who just returned from visiting the devastated region of northern Japan that was, of course, affected by the earthquake and tsunami. And you were both part of a special program that sent you back to the areas where you taught years ago as a JET participant. Could you tell us a little bit about the program that you were on?
Sure. 20 people in the world were chosen to go. The qualification was that you had to have been a JET program participant for 2 years or more, and you had to live in either Fukushima, Miyagi, or Iwate prefecture, which were the hardest hit by the earthquake, tsunami, and then Fukushima particularly has the nuclear reactor there that's melting down, I suppose. So.
And I know you were in Fukushima.
I was in Fukushima, in Iwate City, which is at its northernmost barrier. It's right on the cusp of the 20-kilometer evacuation zone surrounding the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant.
And what were your impressions going back?
It was interesting to go back because so much of my city, Iwate, had remained unchanged. Where I lived, my apartment, my immediate area in the center of town was fine. But if you go along the coast, you could see just the evidence of the wreckage everywhere. You could see debris piled up. You could see, like massive fissures and cracks in the roads. You could, but it's been half a year now, so they've made a lot of great strides in getting it cleaned up. Kids are back in school. Everybody is sort of getting on with their life. So in many ways, it, to me, was the same as I left it, even though such a great catastrophe happened, only half a year ago.
What do you feel the spirit of the people there is now?
I feel like there's a phrase that the school that I worked at used as their motto, and in Japanese it's Makeji Damashi, which I think you could translate as undefeated spirit. And I feel like for the people of Fukushima especially, they have quite an undefeated spirit, and they're very resilient. They're cautiously optimistic about the future, and they're getting on very well, I'd say.
Now, for you, Alan, you went to Iwate.
That's correct, yes.
And where in Iwate were you?
So I lived in a small town called Otsuchi, which was on the coast of Iwate, and it was hit not only by the earthquake and the tsunami, but also there were a large number of fires after the tsunami had happened as well. So the town is literally gone. So I went back, saw where I used to live, and it's really just the foundations in the town. And I taught in 3 coastal towns, Otsuchi and then Yamada to the north, which is a similar state, and also a larger city called Kamaishi, which is slightly to the south, which is a large fishing port with more concrete buildings. So in Kamaishi, again, similar to James' experience, the city is in 2 parts, where the downtown area, everything up to the 2nd floor is now just a skeletal structures of buildings, whereas further inland, it's pretty much as normal.
What is it that you would like to bring back as a message, having visited these regions? Is there anything in the Bay Area that people can do to be of support, or what type of things that should we be aware about? Are there misconceptions that need to be cleared up? Do you have things to share?
I mean, I have a colleague who jokingly made reference to me being irradiated upon my return from Fukushima, and she was joking clearly when she made that comment, but I think it's reticent of a larger sentiment that people might have about the area, and it's ostensibly not in a state of nuclear fallout. Like, people are getting up and going to work every day. The kids are in school every day. The trains are running to their usual degree of punctuality in Japan. Like, it's ostensibly a very safe place to be now, and people shouldn't be afraid to go. And so if there's a message, I would just say, be cautious, educate yourself about the situation regarding the nuclear situation, but don't fear it, and don't assume that it's this apocalyptic nuclear wasteland, because it's not. It's a very beautiful place. It always has been, and it always will be, I think.
And what about you?
Well, yes. On the way to the coast in Iwate, I visited Hiraizumi, which is the latest UNESCO World Heritage Site of temples and Japanese gardens, which is true. It's truly a beautiful place. Similar to how people imagine Kyoto, and it's really business as usual for them, and obviously they're very keen that people come and visit and stay in the hot springs, which are also obviously all over that part of Japan. So I'd encourage anybody who's thinking of going to Japan to go, and not even necessarily just stay in the west. There's a lot of things to see in the north as well. Yeah.
Now, what really touched me about learning about the JET alumni, especially in the program itself, is that the experiences that you have don't really end with your teaching experiences in Japan. Your connections with Japan have gone on for the most part, and I know there's a whole alumni association of JET that still gets together to help each other with job opportunities or networking or friendships. And so I wanted to see if you could speak a little bit about your post-JET experience. And in some ways, like what you are experiencing now, there's much to be said about continuing your ties with the relationships you've built during your JET experience. Do you both have any post-JET
Yes, no, I mean, it's very much continued on two levels for me. Personally, I'm still very close friends with the Jets who were closest to me in Kamaishi, and one of them, who lives in Santa Rosa, just came to my daughter's birthday yesterday, because his daughter's the same age, so they're good friends. And professionally, I'm part owner of a business which actually employs half a dozen or so Jets in Japan still. And we work with technology companies doing business with Japan. And really the JET program is the best qualification that we find for the kind of guys we want to hire, because they really understand where the Japanese people come from a level of education. So they have they're able to connect with the people that they're trying to do business with. And that's very important.
So it just seems for the college graduates that are looking into being applicants, there is a future for them in terms of potential jobs down the line, as well as other kinds of experiences, connections that they can make.
I think you need to learn the language. You need to obviously study the culture as well.
Okay, well, we're out of time. I'm sorry, the time goes by so fast, but thank you so much for taking the time to share with us your experience. When we come back, we're going to actually bring our JET coordinator, Peter Weber, and the advisor for educational affairs, Sumikato, back to give you some last-minute tips on the application process for the JET program. So I hope you'll stay with us.